theme of our meeting this week. Other meetings in other countries will be on other themes. All of them, of course, about migration. Now we are going to continue with our German partner presenting their work. Suzanne or no, Dan? Who? The kid? The young kid? No.
Okay, hi. Now we're going to tell you something about migration in German history. There have been quite a few migration movements through the German history. Phases of immigration were followed by phases of emigration and the other way around. The 19th century was dominated by emigration to America, and during the 20th century many workers immigrated to Germany. Emigration to America. The emigration to America began around 1700. People mostly went to the US, but also to Canada, Brazil, and Argentina. This migration movement reached its peak in the 19th century. Until 1914, the beginning of the First World War, 5.5 million Germans emigrated to the US and were even the biggest population group there. The main reasons were poverty and unemployment because of huge population growth in Germany. Workers were growing, general and war industry. At the end of the 19th century, many workers were needed in Germany because of industrialization. In just a few years, the country of emigration turned into the second most important country of immigration, right after the US. Many Polish-speaking workers came to live and work in western parts of Germany. At that time, these parts of Poland belonged to Germany, so these workers were technically German citizens and moved within the same country. In 1914, there were 1.2 million foreign workers in Germany, and more were needed during the World War I. In addition, there were 1.5 million prisoners of war that were forced to work for German industry.
Migration after White World War. Russian and Jewish immigrants from East Europe. In the early 1920s, 600,000 Russians fled of the German Republic of Weimar because of the Communist Revolution in Russia. Many of them were aristocrats and businessmen that were no longer wanted in Russia, ruled now by the Communist Party. More than half these refugees went to Berlin, but then to Paris or New York. Because of the immigrants' unfriendly policies that provided neither economy nor legal protection. The situation for Jews was very worse. They were fleeing because of riots in East and Southeast Europe. Around 70,000 sought asylum in the Weimar Republic until the anti-Semitic forms became more brutal.
Persecution of Jews and Holocaust during the NS regime. By the election of Adolf Hitler as Reich Chancellor, the German Republic of Weimar ended and the NS government passed a lot of anti-Semitic laws. Attack against Jews and their exclusion from society became normal and were even actively encouraged. Half of the 500,000 Jews who lived in Germany left the country until 1939. More of them wanted to leave, but other countries would not let them in. The US President Franklin D. Roosevelt wanted to all the countries to take one part of the Jewish refugees, but the other states, except the Dominican Republic, refused the idea. Nevertheless, this number of 31,500 Jews were able to escape most of them to the US Palestine between 1940s and 1945. In that same time period, 130,000 Jews were deported to concentration and extermination camps of the German Reich. Only 34,000 Jews survived in NS region, Germany itself. World War II and the end of the war. For aid forced laborers and displaced persons. The NS region was only able to stay at war because it had for aid workers in 1944. Around 8 million forced workers and prisoners of war were employed in Germany's war industry. After the end of the war, the Allied forces took care to 10 to 12 million so-called displaced persons, DPS, and mainly survivors of the work, concentration and death camps. During the first months, about 5 million of them were sent back to their home countries, but some also stayed in Germany. In 1950s, there were still 150,000 DPS in refugee camps that did not have the same rights as German refugees or displaced Germans.
Displaced persons and resettlers. The history of the resettler began in the 18th century. About 740,000 Germans moved on the Danube area to Transylvania, Russia, or the Black Sea region. During the First and Second World War, more Germans were sent to the conquered and occupied territory and had to live there. The people who had been living in this area were deported or driven out. At the end of the Second World War, about 40 million descendants of those Germans flew back to Germany. 100,000 of them didn't survive this migration. In 1915, there were about 12.5 million displaced persons living in East and West Germany. From 1953 onward, there was a law that allowed some of these displaced persons and resettlers to have the German nationality. About 4.5 million resettlers have come back to Germany since 1950.
The German migration and the flight to the west. 2.7 million people crossed the inner German border between 1949 and 1961 towards the west. To stop this inner migration, the Russian-controlled government of eastern Germany built a wall through the middle of the capital of Berlin that had been split almost the West Allies and Russian after the Second World War. Furthermore, it built fences along the border through the whole country in order to stop people from moving to the Allied-controlled West. Till the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989, 700,000 people managed to leave the eastern Germany. Some didn't return from visit to families in the West, and some were bought free by the Western German government. On the top that some 5,000 East German citizens managed to cross the wall and the border. At least 138 died while trying to cross the inner German border. The guest workers in Germany. With the massive increase in foreign trade, Germany needed many more workers than available. With the construction of the wall and the fences along the border, no more migrants from East Germany were able to enter. It started in 1955, where Germans started to look for the workers in Italy, Spain, Turkey and other countries, and over the next years 40 million guest workers arrived in Germany. In 1973, the government stopped the recruitment and most workers left Germany again. However, about 3 million guest workers, mainly from Turkey, Italy and Yugoslavia, started and arranged for their family members to come to Germany as well. And now we're going to show you an interview with a refugee from Eastern Germany to Western Germany.
Jahre, man nicht immer was von der Welt sehen. Wer die gerne abgeht,